Listen, the way I was screaming. Anything but dry around that. Oh God, not ink.
Hey, Intake. I know you're a Trump supporter, but hey, your TikTok.
42.
Beautiful. Do you think the Republicans are cooked?
I just want to know. No, they're awesome. How are you guys doing today after the Democrats cave? Just going around making sure my Democrat friends are okay. Not doing anything too.
Do you understand what happened last night?
I don't know. I mean, you seem to have a better understanding than everybody. That's why you have a TikTok.
Okay. So last night, the Democrats conceded to a vote on the ACA subsidies in December. Do you know what that means?
That means they're going to vote on the ACA subsidies next month.
Right, which means the onus is now on the Republicans
Correct.
to show the world whether they want to give people lower premiums for healthcare or if they want to fuck their constituents.
Well, they're going to vote for it, and I think that's the right decision. And this is what we wanted all along. At least if I was a politician, this is what I would have been asking for, which is a separate vote on this, not cramming it into a CR.
No, so what should have happened, right, is ultimately the Republicans should have came to the table and been like, hey, we're not comfortable with putting this in a CR. We are comfortable with having a vote on it, but they didn't do that. Or they should have said, we're not comfortable with permanently putting in these ACA subsidies. We'll do it for a year. We'll do it for 2 years. But again, they didn't do that.
What did the Republicans get last September when they voted for the CR, when the Democrats had control?
What do you mean?
Well, what did the Republicans give up when they voted for the CR in September?
I don't remember. It was a year ago.
They didn't get anything. There was no negotiations. So why would we get
for anything? But hold on, you don't negotiate. So hold on.
Sure.
So if the Democrats had just wanted this clean CR to go through this clean CR, right? They would have voted for that, but they didn't because they recognized the healthcare problem, the healthcare bubble that was coming up. Because what happens every year in the month of intake? Stop. What happens every year in the month of November?
The health plans come out.
Open enrollment, right?
Yeah, open enrollment.
So the Democrats recognized a problem with open enrollment happening in November and the ACA subsidies ending in December, because what that means is if the ACA subsidies expired, people who are locked into their healthcare coverage will see their premiums skyrocket, double and triple in January, February, March, for the rest of the year, right? So they recognized this healthcare bubble that was happening. So they went to the Republicans and tried to bipartisanly get support to extend these ACA subsidies. Yeah. They wanted to make them permanent, but they would concede on extending them for a year. Chuck Schumer offered them a year. And the Republicans said no and threw a big baby fit about it because they didn't want to negotiate and do their job.
Right. So the Republicans got no negotiating power last September.
So last year in September, did they need to negotiate? Did the government get shut down last year in September?
No, because the Republicans were responsible and wanted to feed poor children.
What do you mean?
The Republicans love children and love feeding them, and the Democrats don't. Apparently, your buddy Tim Kaine likes feeding poor children enough because he caved because he's a little bee.
Why did Donald Trump appeal to the Supreme Court to stop SNAP benefit payments?
Because it's not an emergency, Emma.
It is an emergency if kids are starving.
This is why people don't
it's a preventable
like
emergency. It's not an emergency. Why, they don't like me because I have facts, logic, and reason?
No, because you don't care about whether children get food or not.
Of course I do. I'm a Republican. All 53 of my representatives, Republicans. Well, one of my representatives, Ron Johnson, voted for Feed Poor Children. Tammy Baldwin, Democrat, sure wanted for poor children to starve. So who's the evil one here?
You're saying children going hungry isn't an emergency. So who is the evil one?
It's not an emergency because it was completely preventable. All the Democrats had to do was vote. Seriously, they just had to push a button on a desk or whatever they do.
You're just yelling now. So here's the thing. If the Republicans had done their job and negotiated with the Democrats to protect health insurance coverage for its premiums for all Americans, this would have never been a problem to begin with.
So it sounds like you were starving poor children to give billionaires more money.
That fact, because they could have negotiated this in October.
Thought you guys were anti-billionaire
in November.
Thought you guys were anti-billionaire.
Intake. Why did they not negotiate this in October?
Ask the Democrats. They actually should have been talking about this as soon as new administration came in.
They were in March.
Yeah, they should have. I don't know. Why didn't they bring us to a vote?
Can I ask you a question? Hey, Intake.
So,
what's the number one reason why people go, like, essentially end up poor? Do you know what the
you mean
one
bankrupt? You're going to say healthcare bills get too high, so they go bankrupt.
Healthcare debt, yes.
Yeah.
So that is what. So the Democrats were saying, we know this is a problem, right? So we don't want people's healthcare costs to go up.
Yeah.
So it was worth the fight to hold out for it. It absolutely was. We were all supporting it.
Yeah.
And you should have been too, because you don't want your premiums to go from like what, $80 a month to over
I don't have
$1,000 a month,
Obamacare plan. I used to, but that was like for a year.
It affects private insurance as well, not just the ACA.
Somewhat.
So it affects premium.
It can. I will say that it can.
No, it does.
I will say that it can.
It does. No, it does already. It does. It does. It's not that it can. It already does. That's why people who with private insurance are going to see their premiums increase too, because the ACA provided subsidies to lower costs for people.
Right.
So again, the Democrats were thinking long term, right? So if we give people a bunch of medical debt they can't pay for, they go bankrupt, they end up losing their house. Like, it's just a domino effect. That's what happens to tons of Americans every single day. So that would also cause children to be food insecure, right? And again, Emma just talked, I don't know if it was with you or with somebody else earlier this morning, but she said that during the second longest shutdown in American history, both first at number 1 and 2 are under Trump. So
hell yeah, baby.
That, I guess.
Heck yeah. Love it.
But anyways, he funded SNAP the last long shutdown. So like there was no reason not to. And he literally went to the Supreme Court to say, please don't feed the American people. Please let me.
And
I've
then
already-
trying
I've
to
already
tell the
explained
states
my
to give
point
the
there.
money back who had paid for SNAP.
Yeah,
He's like, nope, you can't do
course.
that.
Okay,
Get the money back.
Yeah, because he's the ultimate negotiator, and he owns you guys constantly on this stuff. You still don't know how to negotiate, apparently. How do you guys not just
suck
watch
it.
it?
Checkmate liberals, we're going to starve your kids. You're such a jackass.
The
This is
Democrats
why
could have
people
just
hate
voted
you.
for the CR and fed the children. Why did Democrats hate children?
Let me ask you something. When did you lose your soul?
Time out, everybody. Everybody, time out. You can answer Amanda's question in just a second because I think it is a very important question here. But this is the problem, right? So had the Democrats voted for the continuing resolution, none of this would have happened. The ACA subsidies would expire in December. People's health insurance premiums would go up, and nobody would understand why because they weren't.
I don't believe they
paying
would have.
attention. Stop.
I just don't
I'm
believe they
speaking,
would have,
which means
Emma.
I'm speaking, which means you're not.
Oh, okay, Kamala, speak.
Nobody would have known that this is happening because people do not pay attention. They treat elections like football games. They come out, they vote once every 4 years. Most people don't even come out and vote in their midterm elections. A lot of people vote in their local elections.
Remember,
And
I'm
that's
not one of those.
what it is. And we need, okay, so Intake, you can come back when Intake, you can come back when I'm done speaking. So we need to do better on getting people out to the polls to actually vote. Had the Democrats passed this continuing resolution, none of this would have happened. Nobody would be as educated on the ACA subsidies. Nobody would have understood why their healthcare premiums were going up in January. Because at the end of the day, the Republicans this year have consistently attempted to defund and dismantle healthcare every chance that they get. So now what's happened instead is the Democrats conceded last night to a vote in December. That vote will be public. If the Republicans vote against the ACA subsidies, everyone's health insurance premiums will go up in January, and there will be nobody to blame but the Republicans.
And he was like, I don't believe that's going to happen. Emma, can you explain why our premium costs would go up after if they were to sign the CR as is?
Because the ACA subsidies would expire in December. There would have been no vote on it.
So Intake, that wasn't you just believing. The reason why costs would go up is because they run out next month. So like after that, premiums go up. It just makes sense. It's not about believing or what we think.
Right? It's about what factually would happen.